Welcome back to Islamophilia Fallacies, and let's talk now about the one that most commonly comes up, the Quoque fallacy. In fact, it's fair to say that this comes up in almost every single discussion about Islam. You can almost set your watch to it. Wait about 30 seconds, and within that period of time, somebody is going to say the words, but the Christians. It doesn't matter if the room is filled with atheists or with non-Christians, doesn't matter. That excuse is going to come up for it. And I'm not sure what the point of this counter argument is. If it's okay that Muslims kill people because Christians kill people too, so it all kind of evens out, or maybe it's that all the cool religions are doing it, so get off their back. I don't know what exactly the point of bringing up Christianity when the topic is Islam is all about, but I do know what the fallacy is. The fallacy is called the Quoque fallacy, and this is translated from Latin as you too. It's an attempt to justify bad behavior by accusing either the accuser or others of doing the exact same behavior. This is an effort to deflect criticism away from the accused or take the heat off the accused by spreading the blame around. It's related a bit to the two wrongs make a right fallacy in that it's an attempt to use other people's bad behavior to justify your own. See also whataboutery or both-siderism, as this fallacy is commonly known. Of course, every parent knows this fallacy as, come on, mom, dad, get off my back, everybody does it. We don't let children get away with this, and we shouldn't let our religions get away with it either. The reality is that one person's bad behavior does not justify another person's bad behavior, even if it is true. It's also important to note that it may not be true. This fallacy frequently relies on the false equivalence fallacy, as it does in this case. As we will see, a lot of these Islamophilia fallacies are actually fallacy cocktails. And so we're going to be discussing multiple fallacies with each video. So let's talk a little bit about the false equivalence fallacy and how it applies here. Word of warning, this video is going to get a little bit weird. It's going to sound like I'm defending Christianity. I'm not. Islam is Christianity on steroids. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. This image is called Pissed Christ, and it was on display at art museums for about 25 years. It's an image of Jesus on a cross in a vat of urine. Now, some Christians got very upset at what they considered to be a work of blasphemy. Some of them got very angry and wrote to Congress, and who knows, those letters might have even contained some swear words. But the point is, after about 25 years, there were 0 shootings, 0 stabbings, 0 bombings, 0 riots, and 1 case of vandalism. After being on display for 25 years, somebody crossed a line and defaced it. That was the full extent of the radical Christian response to what was considered to be a work of blasphemy. Now, what would have happened if there had been an Islamic equivalent? Well, forget about it. No museum would have ever put it on display, and we'd assume that the artist has some kind of death wish. Sam Harris noted how Islam has a very different reaction to blasphemy than other religions, at one point asking, "But what do you think would happen if we burned a copy of the Quran on tonight's show? There would be riots in scores of countries. Embassies would fall. In response to our mistreating a book, millions of Muslims would take to the streets, and we would spend the rest of our lives fending off credible death threats." Indeed, there is an important difference between Christianity and Islam. And some of you may have known this image explain the difference between these two women here. Well, other than the fact that one woman gets to dress more comfortably, there is a very important difference, and that is summed up in 3 words: annual body count. Not only can Christianity not keep up with Islam's annual carnage, all the religions put together can't keep up. And this is a very important difference here. Numbers matter. In terms of the number of terrorist groups, in terms of the number of terrorist attacks, in terms of the number of people that are killed in these terrorist attacks. Now, there's a predictable checklist that is sometimes brought up whenever the "but the Christians" argument is offered. What about the KKK? The KKK is a white supremacist terrorist organization. Their terrorism is driven by white supremacy, not Christianity. If they all became atheists, they would still continue to be a problem. The Bible itself does not contain any justification for white supremacy. In fact, the book was mostly written by brown-skinned Hebrews. Well, what about the Lord's Resistance Army? That is an example of a Christian terrorist organization. It has a couple hundred members and is a serious problem if you live in Nigeria. Now compare that to ISIS, which fielded about 30,000 fighters, waged war in 2 countries, and had a global outreach. There's no comparison. What about Uganda? Uganda had a terrible kill the gays law that they tried to pass. There are 10 countries that currently have such kill the gays laws on their books now, and they all happen to be Muslim. There are also 13 countries that have kill the atheist laws on their books. All happen to be Muslim. What about the Planned Parenthood shooter? Yes, that's an example of Christian terrorism. That is one example of Christian terrorism. What's your point? What about the Westboro Baptist Church? The Westboro Baptist Church says mean things and hurts people's feelings. This is not comparable. Well, what about the Crusades and the Inquisitions? Those happened a long time ago. Linear time matters. Can we please keep this discussion to things that have happened within our lifetimes? Let's talk a little bit also about the threat of democracy, the threat of theocracy, and the general oppressive nature of both religions. And again, there's no comparison between the two here. Christianity, for all its flaws, and they are certainly legion, is an otherworldly religion. It was created by end times doom criers who thought that the world was coming to an end within their lifetimes. And there are 2 important features of Christianity that give the moderate Christian an escape hatch that allows them to adapt to living in a free, secular, and modern society. One is render unto Caesar, where Jesus said that we need to follow the laws and to pay our taxes. And the other is the belief that Jesus died to fulfill the Old Testament laws. This is why dominionism, the analog to Sharia, is not very popular among Christians, because Jesus died to fulfill all of that. The kingdom of Christianity exists in a higher place, not here on this world. Islam, by contrast, is a religion of war and conquest. It was created by a warlord, and it was created for waging war and subjugating people. The caliphate exists right here on this earth, and theocracy is baked into the formula. Islam is Christianity on steroids. There is no comparison between the two. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Islamophilia Fallacies. Tune in next time when we talk about the not all fallacy.